Great to have you both here. Tom, I'm just going to start with you as the analyst covering the stock. Do days like today or weeks like this week just make you scratch your head?
Well, I definitely think, and thank you, Kelly, for having me on, that you're seeing a pullback in tech broadly on favorable headlines related to COVID. For Apple specifically, I think you clearly had some momentum investors buying the stock into the split, selling the stock on completion of the split. But from a fundamental standpoint, I don't think anything's changed for Apple. As Logitech pointed out, you still have 1 billion consumers working remotely, 1 billion learning remotely. And when you couple that with the expected launch of a 5G smartphone this fall and what should be a multi-year upgrade cycle, I still think shares of Apple are really well positioned for the next 12-month period, despite today's pullback.
Let me ask you a follow-up to that, Tom. Not that you're a macro guy, but why aren't interest rates going up today? You know, if we're all talking about favorable news on COVID, why aren't we? I mean, my bigger point for Apple investors is, should they now be concerned that the progression of the economy into a reopening phase means that this stock is going to perform poorly?
And the answer, I would argue, is no, to the extent that I don't see how a reopened economy dampens the consumer preference for 5G, faster smartphones. I would say those would be beneficial both if we are sheltering in place and working if there is a vaccine tomorrow. So again, I don't think fundamentally these COVID headlines are wonderful. Progress on COVID is excellent, but I don't think it dampens the fundamental story for Apple.
Okay, Tim, I'll bring you in with the very same question. And it's interesting because we now know that Apple will probably have a banner year next year because some iPhone demand was crimped this year by the pandemic. It's likely to come back. They're going to push the iPhone 12 launch into a little bit of next year. So, you know, is the problem that that's just priced in? I mean, how much was Apple up this year before the sell-off? 70%?
Well, exactly. Going into any so-called super cycle, that's what we're on the cusp of getting into. When the new phone arrives, there's always huge excitement in the market about what that potential is. And usually we see a little bit of a fall off once that new phone gets introduced. But geez, in the last few weeks ahead of the stock split, wow, things were going up dramatically. And we had talked in the past about what were the fundamentals to justify that. And now maybe this week it's just some people taking a little bit of profit.
Yeah. So I guess the question now is, where does it land, Tim? And similarly, you know, if we were to say what is the direct impact of the pandemic on Apple, what would you say that effect is?
Well, I'd say at this point, it would seem to be Apple and some of the other tech giants have been the winners of the pandemic, right? In a world where uncertainty reigns, these are some of the key companies that people think are going to have a future and are a place to put your money at a time when there's a great uncertainty of what's a good spot for your money, right? And so that's what we've seen in the last few months. Today is just more of that volatility.
Yeah,
right?
Fair enough.